Why organisations need change. So, what is organisational change? It's the planned or unplanned response of an organisation to the internal and external pressures. It's the alteration to an organisation's people, structure or technology. So why is change needed? Change is needed in order to remain competitive within the market, to keep up to date with current trends, to minimise the effects of uncontrollable external and internal forces, and to create positive outcomes, to increase employee productivity and satisfaction, and the need to improve processes. So internal and external forces both bring out the need for change in any organisation. Forces from the internal environment. These pressures influence change in organisations in a variety of ways, which include legal forces, geographic forces, social forces, economic forces, political forces, and technological forces. Geographic forces include extreme weather conditions such as drought or flood. For example, the last drought in Australia in the last decade has continued to threaten the livelihood of agricultural industries. Next we have technological forces. New and improved technology over the last few decades has been a huge influence in organisations. Technological advances has affected the operations of most business, changing the ways employees work and allowing organisations to improve productivity. For example, online shopping is one technological change that has booted the retail industry and opened many opportunities for businesses. Organisations can invest in their technology to remain competitive and can often lead their way in their industry. Legal forces. Changes in laws in areas such as environment, industrial relations, OH&S, and equal employment. For example, in 2008, a Brooklyn meat company owned by the Tasman Group was fined $200,000 for environmental crimes. The meat company was found guilty of pumping cow manure into Stony Creek. Social forces. Changes in fashion, new trends and cultural changes are typical influences that exert social pressures. Cultural changes is particularly relevant to Australian businesses given Australia's increasing cultural diversity. Organisations must keep up with all of these social influences and make necessary changes to remain competitive. For example, McDonald's has successfully monitored the changing expectations of its customers and increasing concerns about childhood obesity in Australia and has designed an alternative menu for children that includes low-fat and healthier choices. Next, we've got political forces. Governments at federal, state or even local levels influence the way organisations operate. Organisations are subject to government's policies and regulations by which they must abide. For example, the carbon tax. Economic forces. They are inevitable and continuous. These are forces that have a direct input on all organisations as they must operate within the prevailing economic conditions. For example, inflation and interest rates influence consumer spending, which in turn can affect the organisation. Australian tourist operators and airlines suffered financial losses and reported job losses as a result of the steep slump in overseas arrivals due to the falling world economy in 2009.
Created using Powtoon.